So tucatinib, like lapatinib and neratinib, is an oral tyrosine kinase inhibitor. It inhibits the tyrosine kinase domain, which is the intracellular domain of HER2. And unlike lapatinib and neratinib, however, tucatinib is very selective for HER2. So there's very little effect on EGFR. And because of that, it has a much more favorable toxicity profile. Certainly we can see diarrhea with tucatinib, but nowhere near what we see with those agents that more strongly inhibit EGFR. So very minimal diarrhea. There's no rash associated with tucatinib. So overall, very well tolerated. And because of how little it affects EGFR, it's actually been able to be very potent inhibitor of HER2, leading, I believe, to the enhanced efficacy that we've seen as part of the HER2CLIMB trial. As part of HER2CLIMB, diarrhea and LFT elevations were seen with tucatinib, but for the most part, these were pretty low-grade toxicities, didn't necessarily require dose interruption or dose reduction, but rather antidiarrheal agents or monitoring of LFTs. HER2CLIMB was a randomized phase 3 trial. Patients were randomized in a 2-to-1 fashion to receiving tucatinib versus a placebo in conjunction with trastuzumab and capecitabine. The trial was stratified based on whether or not patients had brain metastases, and 48% of patients who participated in HER2CLIMB did have brain metastases. Patients were allowed on whether these brain metastases had been treated or untreated, as long as they didn't require urgent local management with radiation therapy. The primary endpoint of the trial was progression-free survival for the overall intent to treat population, and secondary endpoints included overall survival in the intention to treat population, as well as progression-free survival in those patients who had brain metastases at the time of study entry. I think, as you all know, brain metastases can be a real challenge when we're taking care of patients with metastatic HER2-positive breast cancer. Up to 50% of patients experience brain metastases over the course of their journey. And as you know, for the most part, brain mets are treated with whole brain radiation or SRS. And brain metastases and radiation are associated with a decrease in quality of life for patients who have CNS disease. So having a therapy that's very well tolerated and oral that can actually help to control CNS metastases has been a real breakthrough for those of us who treat patients with HER2-positive metastatic breast cancer and brain metastases. So well-tolerated therapy, and can really delay the need for radiation, and I think is certainly offering our patients a great option to help control their disease.